Metal Summoners, here we are, man. We're coming at you heavy, we're coming at you often, and we're coming at you spooky. I am super, super duper excited. You're going to get an instant exclusive right now because this man will 100% be on the show in full, unedited, unlimited, and no length, no cutoffs. We've got Mick Strawn joining us, special effects artist extraordinaire from Blade, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Nightmare on Elm Street, and A Partridge in a Pear Tree. Nick.
Exactly, and I'm particularly proud of that pear tree. I don't even know what a goddamn pear tree is, god damn it.
Well, we'll save that for Christmas time.
Yes,
we'll make it
that's right.
We'll make it a bloody Christmas.
That's a special. That's a special right there. That's what that is.
It is. It's in everything. Remember, this is just the tip. Tip of the knife. Tip of the blade.
Nope.
Horror movies, my friend.
I've heard of them.
You've heard of them?
Yeah, heard of them.
Ever been around them?
You know, tangentially, yes. Yes.
Dabbled
here and there. Yes. Yeah. You know, I for the longest time I was so busy, and this is a weird confession, right? I never saw Predator until 2 years ago, and you know why? Because I was so fucking busy making horror films that I didn't get a chance to go out and actually watch them for many years. I know. It's sad, isn't it? Still haven't seen any of the Scream movies.
Oh, really?
Well, you know, you do what you can.
Yeah. Staying busy is not a bad reason, though.
You know, it's not. It's not. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's like while you're burning, you don't want to see the safety films.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah, but hello, my arm's on fire.
Right.
Oh, did I see the safety film? Did I mention that my arm was on fire?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's not like I need it.
Yeah. You know, I have two of them.
But the problem is you can only do that stunt twice.
Yeah. On that one, we just killed a PA. Yeah, it's just easier. I mean, you know, the thing is if you run the numbers, if you run the numbers, it's obvious. Yeah.
But when it comes to the movie catalog, just again to scratch the surface to start. I mean, vampires are my thing, dude. I love them. Let's talk a little bit about Blade.
Oh, okay. My thing on Blade, and I only did. See, I didn't get along with the director really well, and then he went on to do the Gentleman thing. What's the one with the submarine and like it sucked really bad. It had Sean Connery in it, right?
The Hunt for Red October.
No, the fantasy Gentleman.
Oh, Gentleman. The Gentleman that didn't do so well.
Right, exactly. That one. He did that one next, and was never heard from again. So, you know, he was a dick. He was a complete and utter dick. But, so, the one sequence that I actually did do completely, and it took months and months to put the whole thing together, was the blood sequence, the shower. That's what I'm known for. Is I did the blood shower, and it was a very, 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 very complicated scene because we wanted it to be. I wanted it to be this really representative, really thick, flowing blood, and in order to get that, when you had a thick, visceral material that you're trying to make it look like it's spraying out like water, that is really a trick. Those heads that you see that are supposed to be the little ones in the ceiling, they're actually about 8 inches high. Specifically machined. I had them machined for us. They have an inch around exhaust on them of water coming out. So we had, behind that, we had 3,500 gallons. So 3,500 gallons of that kind of thick goo, and we had to make it look like it was spraying out. And so it took us forever to get the mixture right, and then forever to actually get it to spray, we had to make our own heads and everything else, and it was a kerfluffle. It took about 3-4 months, and the process of doing that, filming that, was really intense because it had its own. It had 3 enormous gas-driven pumps. It had its own. We had, like firefighters, their support equipment. Like the big trailers. So the big trailers with showers in them. We had them. We had 15 of them all the way around the stages, all set up for the people, so that they could get clean and showered of the blood. And it took a week to shoot that sequence.
Wow.
It's just such a complicated thing. It was chlorinated, it was filtered, it was everything you could possibly imagine.
And it made a mess.
Oh my God, it was such a mess.
Angel, right to you, my guy.
Nowadays, they kind of do remakes of like the 80s horror films. Do you think that they would? I mean, would it work remaking something like Nightmare on Elm Street?
Well, the problem with Nightmare on Elm Street, is that it is so easy to do a Friday the 13th. Yeah. I don't mean easy, but I do mean easy. Because basically you put on the rubber mask and you go, right? I mean, that's, but Freddy was not a rubber mask, Robert Englund was a real actor, and he really, especially after Nightmare on Elm Street 3, he really inhabited that role, right? And I think that I think that it would be very difficult to redo it because you would have to be as good as Robert. I mean, let's face it, it's already been done, and everybody looked at it and went, I don't think so.
But also, it was kind of funny. Like I guess with like a Jason doesn't have speaking lines.
Right.
So you have to just kill. But
See,
with him,
by the time we did 3, we had let him kind of do his own lines, right? And the thing you got to remember about Robert is a smart, super funny, excellent actor. I mean, the thing is if you're trying to inhabit that role, you have to go up against him, and that's rough,
100% for sure. And that's the thing too, is like, nothing against Jackie Earle Haley. I mean, he's an amazing actor. I mean, everything that he's done, from like whether it was one of the villains of RoboCop up through The Watchmen, which I thought he was fantastic as that character.
Right.
But he's jumping in to an established role. It's very similar. It's very similar to the criticisms that the Hellraisers are getting in recent years, because it's not Doug.
Right. Exactly. But and the problem is exacerbated in the Nightmare on Elm Street because there is so much more of Robert's character in those roles. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just so far. I don't know that. Like, for instance, to me, Skarsgård in It is as close as you can get to that kind of inhabiting. I mean, certainly it isn't anything like Jason or Leatherface or Michael Myers, because the mask covers all.
Yeah. And Bill just got cast for The Crow. He's currently filming as the new Eric Draven. And
right.
I'm very, very pro Crow, but I'm interested, like in a positive way. I'm legitimately interested to see him play that character.
Absolutely, because I think that he could bring it out. I mean, I mean, look at the Batmans. We've had a different Batman almost every film, right?
Yeah.
And in the last one, come on, didn't you know Robert Pattinson was going to fall on his face, right? I mean, really, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because no matter what everybody said at the time, right? Oh yeah, no, he's as good as it's going to get. Yeah, right. But follow the last couple of guys. It just keeps getting better and better and better and better until it doesn't. And that's the problem. Is Nightmare on Elm Street, they were pretty good. I mean,
And overall, to be honest, I didn't hate Robert. I really didn't actually. I was like, there's a uniqueness to the way he is playing this role that I definitely did dig. But man, it's tough.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. So, but I hold out great hopes for Skarsgård.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Angel?
Besides horror, could you picture yourself doing anything else?
In life? You mean in general?
No, just with other films. Like, can you see yourself?
I've done effects on a lot of different, weird. I mean, the thing is I would probably work for maybe 6 months on a film as a production designer, and then I would daily work on all kinds of films all over town, doing different bits and pieces. I used to work effects stuff on Mad TV, back in the day. I used to do effects bits here and there across. I was one of the main mechanical effects on Boogie Nights. I remember sitting in that meeting desperately. I got my script like on the way to the job, on the way to the production meeting, right? So literally, I get my script at the door, and I had my script, right? So I'm like trying to read as we're doing the read through around. Basically, what that a read through is. You have 30 people that, of the heads of departments, which I was, right? But I had just gotten the job that morning, right? Hadn't read the script or anything. And so I'm desperately trying to get ahead on the script down here underneath the table while I follow with the other script up here. And we get on to about page 7, and I'm looking down here, and I go, and Dirk Diggler drops his pants and exposes his 12-inch dick. And I was like, huh. And I look up like this, and I look straight across, and there's the, and I knew him. The prop master was looking right at me. He's going, yeah, right, because he knew exactly what I was doing, right? He goes, yeah, right, and here it is. And he reaches down and he brings up a paper bag and lays the paper bag out there, and he just pulls out this enormous 12-inch dick, with the balls and hair and the whole bit, I'm like, wow. And I sort of got, I'm not kidding, I was like looking around going, did somebody hire me onto a porno here? What the hell are you guys talking about, right?
I can feel Bobby's jealousy already.
Me too. And it just went, was, went on from there,
That's so awesome, man. Let's flip it over to Candyman.
Candyman was an interesting thing because Candyman, I got called in to like, I was a fixer. At that point, I've been doing a lot of fixing things, right? And they called me in to like fix an art department problem, and I didn't, and nobody was explaining it succinctly. Well, we want to pull things together, and they kind of went into things like you always suspect when you're on a film and people start to talk corporate, well, we're trying to optimize the art department. I don't know what the fuck all that meant, right? And finally, I just said, look, here's my day right. I'll come back tomorrow, and we'll figure it out. As I'm walking out of the office, and this is just me getting the job, right? They're already shooting on the stage. And as I walk out of the office, I go, you know what? I'm going to go just check out what the fuck's going on, right? Because they were filming right there, right? So I go over there, and I open up the door, and when you're in LA, you open up the door, and you walk into the stage, you stand for a while, letting your eyes adjust to the darkness, right? And there's a huge set wall in front of me, and this guy comes running around the corner. And he was a jodhpurs, like really jodhpurs, right? Like you see cameramen in from the talkies, like this. So he's in jodhpurs, and I comes around the corner, and he goes up, and the craft services over here to my left, and he grabs a coffee you know, but not a cup of coffee. He grabs the pot of coffee and goes back around the horn. I was like, well, what the? I just follow that. I follow him. I come around the corner. Everybody on the stage is behind the camera, and they're all watching in front of the camera, where the production designer, an older woman, and the DP are trying to throw coffee on each other out of the pots, right? Hot coffee on each other. Which, by the way, if you're ever going to do something like this, right? If you want to throw, do not try and throw coffee on somebody from those pots, because they flip back, and as soon as you do it, it'll flip back at the end and it pours coffee on you, right? That's what I was watching. I was like, and so I go back into this office of the producer, and I go, we got a time. And he just deflates like he was a balloon and somebody popped you. He goes, you went out on set, didn't you? Yeah, I did. Seems to me like you got a real problem, and you didn't exactly explain it very well. He goes, yeah, he says, you know, can you blame me? And I go, yeah, well, he says, and contractually, I have to keep both of these people on. I said, well, tell you what, triple my rate, and I will sit next to the camera, and I will make sure that the two of them never fight, because I'll stop it. And that's what I did. I did it for 6 weeks. I got paid a fucking fortune for it. And basically, I would just sit there, I'd be goofing around, and the production designer would come around at least 5 times a day, like she was going to kill the DP. And at least 5 times a day, he got off of his camera and went out looking for the production designer. And all I had to do was get in between the two of them. Physically get in between the two of them. Which I fucking had a great time. I mean, look, I could be a dick. You're gonna pay me to be a dick? I will be a dick. I was just a dick to both of them, and
Equally.
And they couldn't get rid of me any more than they could get rid of each other. And that was basically what I did on Candyman. And then I cleaned up at the end.
Angel, let's bring it back on. Man, before we put a nice little bow on it.
Is it with the whole thing with technology? Does it make it easier, or?
Oh my God, physically easier? You wouldn't believe it. I mean, the thing is things aren't heavy anymore. I mean, look, everybody does those the floating camera thing and the Steadicam kind of look. Do you know how much a Steadicam used to weigh? It used to weigh 80 pounds, and then you put the camera on top of it, and that's what. And the guys that worked with Steadicams were gorillas, like this, I mean, you could find the Steadicam guy, because he had ripped through his T-shirt on either side, right?
It's like a pro wrestler.
Yeah. In fact, I had a friend of mine who operates Steadicam. He said, "Yeah, you want to take one for a ride one day?" I said, "Oh, I'd love to." And that fucking thing just slammed me from one end of the stage to the other. It just kept dashing. It's like no matter. The thing is it would head you towards something, and then you go, oh no, I want to go over here, and so you would start to do that, and then it would just splash you on the ground like you were nothing, because it had all those gyros going. And, oh my God! So the thing is yes, of course it's easier. And it's more inclusive, because your camera gear. The thing is look, I'll pull out my phone right now. This phone has in it everything that you need to shoot and edit a film, and probably most. I mean, it has slow motion, and it has all these different effects and stuff that would have cost a fortune back in the day. I mean, like
in your pocket.
Yeah, $500,000 camera package, camera and editing room in your hand. So, I mean, what's the comparison? And the other thing is that you can perfectly imitate the look of film, back by putting filters, computer filters back. So it's just gotten a lot easier. It really has. It's gotten a lot cheaper. I mean, you know, the thing is a cheap film back in the day was between $1 million and $3 million. That's a pretty well funded film these days, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you're not talking about cast, if you're not talking about the ultimate cast and so forth and stuff, yeah. I mean, you know, the thing is I did a film called Vengeance with a bunch of people that Vengeance was a fan film because I'd never done one before, and we did it for about $50,000 a full film. It was beautiful. I mean, it stacks up against, you know, the original bad acting and horrible writing of the originals.
That's awesome. Angel, anything final from yourself, my friend?
No, just appreciate the time. Thank you.
Oh, well, you're welcome.
It's just the beginning, Mick.
There you go.
We're going to get you all set up. Metal Summoners, we'll be back shortly to close out Rockin' Pod with Matt. Thank you so much for hanging with us. We'll be back in a minute.
There you go.
So awesome.